Welcome everybody to Randomjeanc Reviews Undertale, where the first monster you meet is a psychopathic flower. Undertale is a unique game that markets itself as a game that can be entirely played without killing any monster, or you can choose to murder everything in sight. As usual, it's all up to you. Undertale is pretty much a hybrid RPG / bullet hell shooter, particularly when you encounter monsters, but more on that later. This game was pretty much solely made by one man, Toby Fox, with a little help on some monster designs and some of the scripting, but everything was done by that one man. It's very impressive. He used Game Maker Studio, a powerful game making program that is primarily used for 2D sprite based titles, and released it officially on Steam for PC and OS X last month on September 15th, 2015, with a price tag of $9.99. Undertale also happens to be the result of another very successful Kickstarter project, with Toby's initial goal of $5,000 and reached over $50,000. This title was heavily influenced by Nintendo's SNES Earthbound game, which is part of the Mother series for the SNES and NES systems. I instantly could tell the moment I saw screenshots of the Undertale. I was able to confirm my theory because I found an interview with Toby Fox on Existential Gamer, and he had stated Earthbound was a major cornerstone in his life. From Undertale's heavy focus on story, quirky humor, turn-based gameplay, writing, and strong lifelike characters, not to mention an incredible soundtrack, were all inspired by Earthbound. With all that being said, let's delve into Undertale and see why everyone is going crazy about it, from critics to users alike, and to see if I could tell why this tale is one to tell and worth telling. It comes to no surprise that Undertale is a story-heavy game and has a magnificent story to tell, and what a story that is. Without giving away too much, just on the intro and a few more details. Undertale takes place upon a world where humans and mostly humanoid monsters coexisted on Earth, above the surface to be exact, and one day a war broke out between the two races, and after a long battle the humans were victorious and they sealed the monsters underground permanently with a magical spell. You play as a nameless and non-gender specific child that was climbing a mountain and took refuge in a cave during a downpour of rain, and accidentally tripped on a vine, causing the child to get sent straight down into the mountain. Luckily, you were cushioned by a bed of golden flowers. Soon after, you discover your first monster, Flowey, who asks you to get hit with his pellets to increase your love, and whether you dodge him or not, eventually he will reveal he was trying to murder you. But it's just as the pellets surround you, you are saved by Toriel, a friendly monster who is the caretaker of the ruins, and mentions that a human hasn't fallen down in a long time. She asks you to follow her so she can guide you through the catacombs, and the game begins. It may not seem like much at first, but trust me, there is so much more than it seems. And to tell you what, the story will be worth it, as it's one of the best crafted stories in recent years, and even more so by the fact that it's all being told by text and no voice work, which works in its favor entirely. It feels like a whimsical tale in a Studio Ghibli film, told in pixelated form. What makes the story so strong and fascinating is just how the game makes you hunger for more and more of this strange and mythical world of Undertale. You want to know why the war happened, how this world works, and instantly more about the story. It's a world full of quirky, fun, and inventive characters full of personality, and what makes you care for just about all characters in the title, even the enemies themselves, is because they're all full of personality and traits. Seriously, the characters make this game incredible and memorable forever due to the game's amazing writing and humor that will really make you laugh over the most randomest things, and it's great. Don't be fooled by its looks. It's not all ice creams and rainbows. While this title certainly can be played with kids, it's really geared for more older audiences that touch on subjects that kids can understand. It's serious when it needs to be, and when it happens, it can contain horrifying scenes and even monsters that will terrify you. There are 3 major endings that can vastly change the game completely: neutral, pacifist, and genocide. Each one will shed light on aspects of the story and allow you to experience different lore and play entirely different sections, encounter different bosses, enemies, etc., making the game worth playing over at least 3 times if you wish. But even with one playthrough, enough is told to satisfy you. But trust me, you'll want to try to at least get the pacifist ending. Now, I know the NES style overworld graphics might turn people off due to its mostly primitive nature, but please put that past you, otherwise you will miss out on an excellent and unique adventure. While its graphics may seem limited, the animations for all monsters, detailed sprite art for all environments and creatures truly make up for it. It's almost like the further and further you progress, the more and more complex the scenery and backgrounds seem to get. The sound effects may be simple, but they are all more than enough to give the satisfaction and easily represent what they are meant to represent. They just add more charm and make this feel like a retro title made in the 90s. And I really dig the fact that all characters have certain voices they give during their scenes and speeches. It's so awesome and adds personality and contrast between characters. Some of the colorful cast of characters are a skeleton named Sans, whose task is to keep watch for humans but is very lazy at everything. A psycho robot who wants to murder all humans but wants to quiz you first, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. How does Toriel communicate with you early on in the game? Well, she gives you a cell phone, of course. She's a character already beloved by fans, and for good reasons. She's kind and caring. I don't know, but under the right conditions, if you're drunk enough and blinded yourself just enough, she'd be one amazing. So many locations of all kinds are featured in this title, and the soundtrack is so varied and offers so many memorable tunes. I'd argue it's one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. Seriously, every genre is in here, from somber tones to horror to even intense and operatic themes. Each one feels like it has a unique identity, and once you can make your audience learn your songs and pick them out from over 90 songs, you know as a composer you have composed something incredible. I loved it so much that I paid the same price of the game for the soundtrack itself. And it just goes to show it's definitely worth it even on its own. And you bet I pump this thing in my car all the time. Undertale's gameplay is mostly like an old school RPGs where you walk from one place to another, continuously progressing in chapters, and in this case to escape the underground. When you first encounter areas with enemies, you'll have numerous random encounters, but after a certain number of encounters with them, you won't ever encounter them anymore, meaning that if you want to farm for experience or gold, you can't, so you have to be careful. As mentioned earlier, Undertale plays like a bullet hell shooter during battles, where your HP is drained per hit depending on the enemy's attack stats. Each enemy, common and boss ones, all of them have unique attack patterns, and each one keeps you on your toes. And it can range from simple projectiles to being completely surrounded by some crazy kinds of bullets. Oh my god, what the fuck? But they're not impossible to dodge, but can be extremely challenging. And I love the fact that certain enemies can change your heart color and have certain effects on your movement as well. For example, if it's turned blue, it gives you weight. Gravity pulls you down. Speaking of battles, remember, just because you are faced with an aggressive monster, it doesn't mean you have to murder it. You can talk to it to befriend it, and just talk to it to learn about its problems, and finally spare it. Do this enough times, and then sometimes when you meet that same class of monster, they will immediately be ready to be spared, which will be indicated by yellow text. Figuring out how to befriend it is fun and hilarious, and is usually what your hunch tells you. For example, a Vegemite can be befriended if you are hungry and it feeds you a green veggie that heals you. Do that once and it can be spared. A buff horsefish can be befriended if you have a flex battle with it, of course. It's amazing and hilarious. All monsters have personalities. It's not always straightforward, but each time you discover how to solve their problems, it's always a laugh. There's a freaking airplane that you have to flirt with in order to befriend it. I don't know, but under the right conditions, if you were just drunk enough and blinded yourself just enough, that plane would be an amazing. If you decide to murder things, you enter attack mode, where you have to align lines in the green crosshairs or even in the center to achieve maximum damage. Killing things will give you XP and gold, and when you level up, HP immediately increases. Sparing things only yields you gold, not XP, ever. Gold is extremely important. This is an RPG after all. You must purchase new armor and weapons if you want to survive. You can buy items at shops too. Just remember, all items are healing items, and in this case, this is pretty much all you need. It doesn't matter what your intentions are, whether you want to kill or spare, enemies will still attack you because you are human. So you must survive the onslaught, and to do so you must dodge all projectiles to survive. Even enemy projectiles can be colored. If it's teal, you must stand still and it won't hurt you. If it's orange, you must keep moving or it will hurt you. I just love how Undertale constantly tries to keep you on the edge and tries to really keep things interesting, and the game succeeds. I never ever got bored during fights whatsoever, even on multiple playthroughs, due to the refreshing nature from your heart colored effects and enemies colored effects. You can also always run away in case you are about to die, and if you do happen to die, you will be reverted back to a save point. Your last save point to be exact, losing nothing permanently unless you hadn't saved in a long time, so make sure you save often in order to avoid lost progress. No matter what route you take, the game is very engaging, and it can be nail-biting if you're nearly about to die when facing a monster boss like I did. The only criticism I have that sometimes it can be hard to know if what you are doing is really doing anything against the boss or enemies. Most of the time you get some sort sort of reaction, but it's not always so clear cut. I kinda wish there was a meter or something to tell you if something is effective or not, but most of the time you will get clues. Also, if your character could run, that would be amazing. I was wondering, Undertale can be annoying when you walk somewhat slow and you can't speed up, especially if you want to backtrack as well. And since you can't run, it can be somewhat annoying traveling, but these moments are rare. There are ways to fast travel, but it's only between certain points. After that, you just gotta walk there, buddy. No amount of words will ever truly express how incredible and engaging Undertale truly is. It's an experience you must go through yourself to truly appreciate every single thing that makes up this title. This gem is truly unlike any other out there. Its story is incredible, shocking, scary, fun, and humorous at the same exact time. The choices you make on your run live with you and through the run and beyond, as there's no way to load back or make multiple save points. I couldn't possibly imagine killing all your friends, and especially not Toriel. No, never. But if you want to, you sure can. The game leaves it up to you on what you want to do. Each one bring different perspectives of the story and characters' points of view. And the game isn't exactly too long. Expect 5 to 6 hours on your first run. After that, it could be a little bit faster if you skip certain moments. What makes it great about the length is that it's short enough to easily make you want to complete the game over and over again, and at least twice to get most of the story. Specifically the pacifist ending, which requires you to complete a neutral run first to unlock the side quest to get that pacifist ending. I'm the type of guy who hates doing things over and over in games, but for Undertale, I never did mind doing it for that second run. I don't mind it at all. It's not a chore. It's refreshing to see how different each path truly is, providing unique areas and experiences. I have yet to do the genocide one, and I really want to do it, and I know I'm going to feel like crap as soon as I finish it. I might even do a recording of me just trying to beat the game in genocide mode. Maybe. As simple as the combat is, it's actually more engaging than it seems. This title provides some of the best tracks I have ever heard of any game, period, and provides an unforgettable experience that I will remember for many years to come. And I think it easily deserves an Indie Game of the Year and even Game of the Year award itself. It would be an injustice if it wasn't at least Game of the Year for indie games. For all those reasons that I have stated, Undertale receives a legendary plus rating, 10 out of 10. Don't like RPGs? Get it. Don't like the visual graphics? Get it. Don't like turn-based games? Get it. Hate video games? Get it. It doesn't even matter. Just get it. I don't think I will ever be giving any other game this rating for a long time. And according to our Steam buddies who gave Undertale a 98% out of 5,443 reviews, I completely and wholeheartedly approve of their rating this time. And I mean, damn, there's a reason why this game is literally one of Metacritic's highest rated games of all time. It's just amazing. Thanks guys for watching this and clicking on my latest and greatest review yet, or at least in my opinion. I hope you dug it, and I hope you really play this game. I am dying to know what you guys think. I know some may think it's overhyped, but it really deserves its praise. The less you know of Undertale, the better it will be. If you want to catch my last review of Armello, click here. And before that one, I also reviewed Darkest Dungeon, another great game by its own merits. I might do a Undertale playthrough of Genocide mode as well, even though I will feel like a monster killing all my beloved monster friends. And always stay tuned for more reviews and content. Thank you all for watching. This is Randomjeanc, signing off.